Hello everyone. Sorry this video is coming up so late. So it is day 3 of the 7 days of Halloween. And with me I have my handy dandy notebook. Isn't it pretty? So today's topic is witches. Now, for those of you who don't know, and please do not be freaked out because I will explain why and what I think of it. But I consider myself to be one, or technically, I consider myself to be an um, an aspiring witch. So the word witch usually conjures up some negative thoughts, and I'm kind of sick of it. But it doesn't always. It's usually either overly supernatural and fantasy-like, or it's very negative. I guess I like the former better than the latter, obviously, but still. I respect people's beliefs. I respect people's religion. I may not always agree with them, but I respect your right to believe whatever the hell you want to believe. There's a lot of beliefs out there that are bad and horrible, and I don't agree, and I wish they didn't exist, but I am not God or the law or anybody to try and dictate that to you, and technically, even the law shouldn't, so it's unfortunate to some degree that there is hatred out there. But again, my position in life is to try to be the bigger person and not sink to that level. Now that we got that out of the way, yes, which usually is something negative to people. But if they knew the truth behind it, it wouldn't be. Okay, going back to the religion thing, understand that books like the Bible, the Jewish scriptures, the Quran, the Vedas, all those were written thousands of years ago. And certain things applied back then for certain reasons. Due to culture, due to health. I mean, there were certain physical aspects of food, sexual relations, all that had a different meaning back then because people didn't know much as we do now and died very easily. Got sick very easily and whatnot. And there were also, like I said, cultural customs and this and that and just a whole bunch of stuff that's very different from today. So when you try to quote these scriptures and everything, just keep that in mind. So anyways, understand also that things like the Bible were not originally in English. In fact, they went through different translations. A lot of the names we hear in the Bible, while many are Hebrew, some are also more or less kind of Greek and Latin translations. Like, I believe Jesus is actually Greek, and Jesus was a Jewish man who spoke Aramaic, technically. And if you look at some other Greek names, it kind of makes sense that Jesus is actually Greek and probably not the original either Hebrew or Aramaic name that he would have went by. The Gutenberg Bible, I think, was one of the first, if not the first, actually fully printed Bibles, which came from Germany. So you have Hebrew and Latin and Greek and German and all that. Probably many more before it was officially translated to English. I know the Bible says, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live," and that has a lot to do with King James and his obsession with witches. But many believe that the actual translation from the original Bible was poisoner and not witch. Which comes from an old English word, which I am sorry, it's either wiki or witchy or something like that. I have not found the actual pronunciation of this word, so please tell me. And I have found different people saying different things, but this is one of the things I have found. So it is Wicca, almost like Wicca, but with an E at the end. And I know Wicca is kind of in that whole thing too, with translation and everything. And it usually translates to wise woman. See, years ago, before there were doctors and stuff you could go to, you went to your local witch, basically. And it wasn't always about dancing in circles and casting spells over, candles and stuff. A lot of it was herbology and, just natural medicine and stuff like that they made up. They were basically like what we have now. They were like doctors thousands of years ago. That's what they had back then. Of course, we have doctors now. They had wise women or witches and stuff like that. Some people associate these type of witches with, I've heard the terms cunning folk, um, shaman, witch doctor, all that kind of stuff. So they are different to some degree, but a lot of it, when it comes to good magic that people believe in, those are some of the terms that I've heard. But yeah, getting back to the earlier centuries, the 15th, the 16th, and everything, especially around the King James era, a lot of innocent people, especially women, were killed, and perhaps many of them had nothing to do with the craft at all. Women were punished for the stupidest things you could imagine. If they ate certain things, if they wore certain things. I've actually heard that one of the crimes that Joan of Arc was burned for was wearing men's clothes. That's how fucking ridiculous it was. I've heard something, I think strawberries were evil or something like that. I don't know. It had a lot to do with fruit and other things that women ate and stuff like that. A lot of women who lived alone were targeted, certain women of certain ages, because apparently, as a woman, you cannot make the decision of how you lived your life, what you ate, what you wore, and if you were able to support yourself, you must have been in league with the devil because women just weren't smart enough to fucking take care of themselves. And I know I sound a little angry there, but it almost seems like some people still have that frame of mind today. So yeah, a lot of women, innocent women, like I said, who may or may not have been witches, and many who may have just been devout Christians even, were brutally murdered just for simple things like independence, which is horrific, and some of the shit still goes on today. There are a lot of countries where witchcraft is punishable by law, like Saudi Arabia, where it's punishable by death, actually. Now, let's get on to some lighter stuff. There are different types of witches. I consider myself an eclectic. I'm still learning. I still have a lot to go through. And so I consider myself an eclectic, like I might have just said. Eclectic basically means a mix, because I just can't take from one thing. I see the beauty in many different things. That's why I can't settle on a religion. If you ask me what my religion is, it is a mix between liberal Christianity, Sufism, Kabbalah, Wicca, Hinduism, Cometicism. Throw a little bit of Jewelry in there. Uh, Other pagan religions. Yeah. Um, it's just a mix. But there are things like Kitchen Witch, which I'm getting more into, and that's working more with kitchen stuff, like putting your magical intent into food, using certain spices, doing the spells, putting that energy into stuff you make. There's ceremonial, which I read here is Kabbalistic and Egyptian magic, which I have started a big interest in. Celtic is your Irish and British and some other like cultures, which focused a lot on fairies and gnomes and trees and stuff like that. A lot of mythology with nature kind of creatures. Another thing that I really wanted to get into is, I don't know the actual term for it. I've heard sea witchery, water witchery, sea witchcraft, water witchcraft, stuff like that. I don't use the term sea because right now I live in Minnesota and we have lakes, and I've never actually been to a sea, period. But I'd love to see the ocean one day, any of them. Because I do have this love for water. I love documentaries on underwater life. I find it beautiful and fascinating. My favorite times, if I'm not in it and I don't have anything to do, and I am able to stay home, I have nowhere to go. I love rainy days, especially when I'm trying to write. I love just rain. Sometimes even light rain to heavy rain. I love it when I can sit down at my laptop, have tea or coffee, and it is just raining out. It's just, I don't know, it does something to me. I find it beautiful. Um, there is a white, black, and gray kind of spectrum that some people use. I try not to because I can see how it can be insulting to some people who may find white good and black bad to be kind of on the racist side. I don't know how much thought people really put into it. And also, it's not always that way. Sometimes black can be more darker magic, which isn't negative, but some people sometimes associate black and dark and everything with underworld gods, gods of the dead, nighttime magic, stuff like that. That has more of a darker energy, but not bad because there needs to be a balance. And lighter deities for white or lighter magic. Sometimes during the day, sometimes less powerful magic. Like I said, it really, really depends on who you're talking to, and then there is the gray middle. Um, I guess I'm more of a middle person. Some people debate the Wiccan Rede and what it says, but I try to live by it, at least the most very famous saying out of it, which is, harm none, do what ye will. Which basically means we believe in free will. At least a lot of people who practice Wicca does. But we seek not to harm anyone. Meaning, as long as you're not killing anyone, harming anyone, do what you want. Wear your hair how you want. Date who you want. Have the job you want. Whatever, as long as it's not going to cause harm to you or any other living thing. Let's see. What else? Okay, well, maybe I can wrap this up with some movie suggestions. Now, a lot of movies, of course, depict witches as bad, but not all of them. Not all of them. There are quite a few that have witches on the lighter side. Hocus Pocus is not one of them, although it's more comedy than darkness and everything. Um, but the whole witch Satan thing really, really gets to me. Um, but that's a kid's movie and it's meant for humor and everything, and it's still a fantastic movie. And they're coming out with a part two, which I'm interested in seeing. Um, as for the more positive sides of witches, the problem is a lot of them aren't always realistic. The more supernatural Hollywood movie kind of things. Harry Potter would be one of them. I will admit this, I've only read 3.5 Harry Potter books. I have to finish the series, but I still think they are freaking fantastic. One of the best series, or the best books ever. Um, but that has a lot of both positive and negative, because you have people like Hermione and Harry and Ron who do good with their magic and everything and help people out. Then you have Voldemort and Bellatrix and other people who are evil. So it's kind of a balance. And I do like that, they show two sides of things in those books and those movies and everything. And they have good character personality, so. But I'll get on to that another time, or else I'll go into a whole Harry Potter review rant here. So there's Harry Potter. There's The Wizard of Oz, which I really liked. Most people don't know this, but it was an actual book before it was a movie, and it's an actual series, so I've only read the first one. Now, The Wizard of Oz, again, is a book and movie that depicts both good and bad witches. In the book, however, there are 4 witches and not 2. Well, actually, in the book and movie, from what I remember, because I read the book years ago, of course, the one sister of the evil witch died when the house dropped on her. But Glinda actually, I think, had a sister or another associate with her, which I think was the Good Witch of the South. So they were from all 4 directions. So, yeah, you have Harry Potter and The Wizard of Oz. Kiki's Delivery Service. That one doesn't have too much witchery really in it at all, but it's a cute movie. I'm trying to think of what else. The Craft is iffy. I love the movie, but some people have problems with it. Again, I see it. It does have a lot of Hollywood and supernatural effects kind of thing, but I think it is closer in describing some basic pagan beliefs, or just beliefs about nature and the magic of nature and everything. What other movie am I thinking of? I think that might be it. And I know once I'm done with this video, I'm probably going to think of more. Practical Magic. That was another one. I watched it a long time ago. I don't remember too much about it, but that one was a little bit more, from what I remember, realistic to the actual beliefs and everything. So those are a couple suggestions. Oh, and don't forget Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which is, again, magical and made up, but it's still a lot of fun to watch. And I watched the heck out of that as a teenager and a kid. So, basically for me, and I'm gonna just kind of wrap this up now, finally, Basically, for me, being a witch is using the intelligence that God gave me. It is not a separation from God. It is not anything to do with the devil. It is not about levitating or casting curses on people or spells or anything. It is about putting my intent, my energy into the things that I do. It is about my connection to the all, God, whatever you want to call it. I live by the reed, or I attempt to live by the reed. I'm only freaking human. You know, I. To me, magic is like a prayer. You pray for things, but you know God's not going to hand it to you. You know, if you pray to an angel, it's not going to hand it to you. They will guide you. And that is what things like the craft and Wicca are for me. It is the guidance of God. It is me using that guidance, using the intelligence that I'm giving, the energy of my mind and soul, my spirit, whatever you want to call it. And it's me putting that energy into things and putting all that good intent into things to guide me to things. And I don't know any other way to explain it, but that is what the craft basically is for me. So, sorry if this video became long. Hope you enjoyed. And I will see you later, and blessed be everyone. Bye.